Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. All right, today we're going to talk about the West Coast wildfires threatening hundreds of cannabis businesses. Talking about the new normal. This is maybe the second year in a row that we've had crazy fires. So to help us talk about this is Katrina Glogowski, angel investor and attorney. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.
So I actually wore a mask outside, walking around, nobody around. Normally when I'm out and about, I don't wear a mask unless I'm inside or I can't social distance. But today the smoke was so bad that I just wore a mask on the way to the podcast studio without anybody in sight because it is really nasty out there. And so plants, they're going to be affected by that. Any mold that gets blown across that happened in Oregon. We saw a lot of flower not make it through the testing because of mold being pushed from fire. So if it's not smoke, if it's not mold, it's going to be something else that is going to really drastically reduce the supply, therefore increase the price. Simple supply and economics. Fueling concerns about the new normal.
Josh, this is a catastrophe because if you are growing outdoors, how are you going to protect your babies from these contaminants? If you have put plastic sheeting over them, you have to do something, because with all of the testing protocols in place, these particulates that are in the air that you cannot control. I mean, this is basically the entire West Coast is affected by this. And you cannot control the flow of the air and the distribution of the particulate in the air when you have an outdoor grow. In 2018, Washington saw this. We had very severe fires in eastern Washington that contaminated a significant portion of the outdoor crop in this time of the year, August, September, right before harvest in October. And there's very little that you can do to remediate plastic particulates or mold or heavy metals on your plants this late in the season. And this is horrendous. I feel for the farmers because this is going to be catastrophic. And I agree with your assertion, Josh, that there's going to be a shortage because a lot of this outdoor weed isn't going to pass testing for nothing that the farmer did except the smoke contamination. And the result is going to be a supply shortage right around the end of the year, and the price is going to go up. Mark my words on that. The price is going to go up towards the end of the year because it affects the entire West Coast. This isn't, a fire in Armpittville that took out one farm. This is thousands of miles of cannabis crops being affected.
Right. And not only that with the fire, but we had an early freeze in Colorado. And so if it's not hemp or cannabis, I mean, if it is hemp and cannabis, Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon, and Northern California were huge growers of cannabis and hemp. And not only that, but siloing it as well. So all of the storage of all of this cannabis is at risk too. So whatever amount we thought we had could be gone. And so with California just burning entirely in Eastern Oregon and the smoke coming into Washington, it's going to affect what's currently growing as well as what was grown last year. We all thought we had an excess of hemp and an excess of cannabis. And if those silos burn, that could skyrocket the price literally overnight from an excess to a lack of available inventory for the entire world as it pertains to hemp.
Yeah. And then, like you said, in Colorado with 93 degrees one day and 30 degrees the next day, those poor babies, those poor babies have suffered mightily, and they probably lost the bulk of their outdoor crop, Josh.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen. You can freeze, it can turn hermaphroditic if they haven't already flowered, they can turn into males and start seeding. There's a lot of issues that can happen when lighting and temperature change that drastically. 60 degrees is absolutely unheard of. With people posting that on social media, like I don't ever remember this ever happening. Old school growers, as well as Jim Belushi in Oregon. His farm is in danger of burning, and he's about to be on like Discovery Channel or something. So they're going to have to figure out how that's going to happen if he doesn't have a farm. Everybody's kind of in trouble. And I'm not just talking about the farmers, I'm talking about patients as well. Everybody who relies on their medicine, on their products, and the not everyone grows the same, like Jim Belushi versus just some schmuck who doesn't know what he's doing. You can't just substitute brands that easily. And so there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of people that are going to have to readjust how they get their cannabis and hemp.
Again, it's catastrophic. Well, we don't give advice on this show. If you are dependent on cannabis for medical reasons, I would stock up at least a little bit ahead of time. Not a massive buy, because you don't want to break the law with how many ounces you have on your possession. But it's going to affect the market, and the market's going to be very different harvest time this year.
That's right. Yeah, just taking a look at some of the pricing that we can see change, with pounds at $1,450. I would expect that to go back up into the $2,200-$2,500 mark for cannabis, as well as the spot price index for hemp to also increase to stupid levels not seen since 2018. But you're just going to have to come back to the Talking Hedge and find out. So I want to thank my guest, Katrina Glogowski, angel investor and attorney. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.